Hello, everybody. Welcome. Want to invite you all in and come on up close. We've got chairs up here as well. It's a cold night. Come cozy up. We're all coming in here. Thanks, all. Yeah, there are some more seats up here. In particular, two right next to Deb. And there's seats on the floor, and I think there's a couple more seats near the Play-Doh up here, if you guys would like. Yeah, come on in. All right. We want to start off with just welcoming everyone here. Thanks for coming. It was a tough night to get here. It's quite cold outside, and we're glad you came. I know it's been a hard time for our community, and with the gathering tonight and this Epiphany celebration, we're looking to kind of come together as a community and really celebrate a lot of kind of who we are and what we've done, and also to imagine a bit as well, and really think about who we're called to be as a community. And you are all a big part of that. And I'm just really glad seeing your faces and glad that you're here, not only tonight, but just that you show up for this church. Like, we are who we collectively are here. This is us, and really glad to be here. So for tonight's agenda, we've got, first we're gonna talk a bit, and we're gonna share some stories. We're going to provide some updates on the community. We're gonna talk about plans for where we want to go, and we're going to imagine a bit, as I mentioned there, and then we're going to eat and enjoy all of the really great food that everyone brought, and really excited about those different pieces. A couple logistical notes. All of you have kind of a resource guide here, which looks like this. And that's a great resource for you to hold on to. This kind of talks about a lot of the things that we do and a lot of ways to really plug in and kind of get deeper into the community. We also have a little questionnaire as well, and we're looking for your feedback, and it would be great if you could fill that out tonight. The questionnaire is kind of in those different pamphlets, and it'd be great if you could fill that out and then put it on one of the tables before you leave this evening. We'd love your thoughts. So the theme of today is really centered around two things, centered around the idea of freedom. Freedom in a lot of different forms, to call us to be more, to be creative, to let God into our lives in new ways and into this community. But also a theme around commitment that we'll be thinking and talking through, where really, how can we show up for each other and continue to show up for each other as a community here. And so, we'll revisit those themes throughout the night, but keep those in mind as we're going through some of the content here. So glad you all made it, and now we're going to open up with some prayer. We'll invite Rachel and Will up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Will, and I'm on staff here at All Souls. To those of you who are new here tonight, this is your first time, welcome. I know that this is a different, and it will be a beautiful space tonight. I haven't been here in the last couple of weeks, as some of you have known, and have supported our family, and I just wanted to give a little bit of update on the Forsyths and Evans and just our life right now, and also just to begin with gratitude and just say thank you. Our family, about 2 weeks ago, my mother-in-law, amazing woman, came home with hospice care. And so we've spent the last 2 weeks at her bedside in a very sacred, what we call thin space, as she is transitioning from this world into another one. And we have laughed, we have made a lot of jokes, we have cried, we've listened to a lot of music. And one of the things that we have had is space to be together as family. And a lot of that is because of the leaders and people in this community who have given my family and me the time to be able to spend with her, time that we'll never be able to have again, and it feels sacred. So I want to just begin by saying thank you. Thank you for cards and letters. Thank you for, I know you sometimes wanted to reach out and were said, well, maybe give them some privacy, so thank you for that as well. All in all, we are doing well as we experience small losses and griefs and celebrations each day. And I think one thing about it was last minute of I didn't know if I'd be able to make it here tonight, and I'm glad I am. And something about sharing tonight is this isn't just about us and our family and what we're going through the day-to-day, but I know, because of being engaged in this community, that we collectively, though we get to come here and celebrate, and we're going to do plenty of that, we also get to hold sorrow together. And I know our family are not the only ones. That there are a lot of heavy prayer requests in our city, in our nation, in our community right now. And so for those of you that are caring for family members in similar ways, for those of you who are walking your own journey of grief or caring and loving those around you, we just want to give some space to each other for that tonight. And so I thank you for the gift that you've given to us, and this is what is important. We were told, and then you said keep it short. I'm not doing well at that. You said say whatever you want. One moment that Lauren and I had in conversation was, that's a wise person said to her, you spent a lot of your time investing in community, in your safety net. Now it's time to use it. And that is this community in our family as well. And that's the work that we get to do for one another communally. And that's what we get to do for each person we hope that walks into these doors or that we meet, is how are we creating that space where we witness each other's lives together? All of it. And so thank you for doing that and embodying that here today. Transition into a little bit of our staff were thinking, and with other leaders, we were thinking about some of this theme of tonight, and this idea of as we look into this year, Epiphany has often been this gathering where we really talk about, man, what are some of the things we're dreaming about or hoping about or that we feel called to as a community. And as we were thinking about it, one of the things that we already have, this value, it's usually last on our list, so it maybe gets talked about the least, but this value of and the and is holding two things that seem in tension often, but holding them together in relationship. This and of freedom and commitment. And so we're going to hear about different ways in which we can lean into this vision and this value of freedom and commitment. I remember several years ago when we were coming up with these values, I was in this basement down here kind of praying and trying to have a vision of like, what are we actually doing when we do this thing we call church, especially at All Souls? And the image that came to me that day was a group of people like on the trail together. And like walking this journey as a group of people together, all kind of some of us tired, some of us excited, getting to see the beauty of around us, setting up camp and sharing stories, and then waking up and going again. And as we're walking this trail, others are joining us for certain parts of it. And what does it just look like to be a people who journey in life together? And freedom means that there's times, if you've ever been on the trail with other people, that you go, you know what? I'm ready to just kind of walk behind the group or in front of the group. Like, you have freedom to be who you are as we journey together. But also, we know we're going to wake up and we're going to be in it together. And we're going to walk step by step. Sometimes in seasons of grief, and seasons of joy, and some of just the ordinary day-by-day steps can we be committed together. And so we wrote a little bit several years ago about that, and I just want to end by reading that. Freedom commitment. We will walk each step of this journey in freedom and in commitment. We will walk in freedom because Christ has invited us through grace to be our authentic, our messy, our broken and beautiful selves as we walk as free people. Not perfect people, just God's beloved. We will walk with each other in this journey in commitment. We will continue to show up for each other, show up for our city and to God, bravely offering our passions, our gifts, our challenges to each other every step of the way. So thank you for embodying that in my own life, and thank you for showing up for that here tonight. Rachel, say whatever you want to say. No.
Sorry, I can't actually see you either. Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm also on staff here, and I'm just going to lead us in a prayer before we begin the rest of our evening, so please join me. Loving God, we know that you are with us on the journey. We ask that you hold us as we walk side by side as sacred community. And we thank you for loving us as the beautiful and the broken, and giving us a place, a community to be together. Be with us tonight as we celebrate, reimagine, and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Give it up for your MC, Stephen.
Thanks, Will and Rachel. That was great. So now we're moving into sort of the updates and some of the stories portion of the evening. And we're going to start off with the elders, a group of leaders in the church, and they're going to talk a lot about the vision for the church, but also around thinking through, like, how can we make this community a bit more sustainable? So we'd like to invite all of the elders up, and we'll get an update and then also hear a community story.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie. I use the pronoun she, her, hers. I am an elder, along with this lovely crew of folks. And we just wanted to start off with just kind of naming what are some of the things that the elders do. We, as we think about that idea of freedom and commitment, we are committed to showing up to support the church in lots of different ways. And we have freedom to do that in ways, listen to me, I want to say it in Spanish, according to the needs that are presented. Rachel and I were in Guatemala last week, and I had to do it all in Spanish, so my brain immediately went to there. Sorry. That's also freedom as well, right? We get to communicate in lots of different languages, and also according to the needs of the community that we serve. And so as we think about doing that, really, our commitment is to the vision and mission of All Souls in lots of different ways and forms and fashions. And we do that in collaboration. We don't do it only as a team of elders, but we do that in collaboration with the staff and with the deacons and with each and every one of you. And as we do that, our hope is really to work towards sustainability, to be a community that's committed to one another in the good times and the hard times, but also committed to this community and to our partners in meaningful and deep ways. So as we do that, we're going to talk about a little bit about some of the specific ways that we're working towards sustainability as a team.
Hi, I'm Polly. I'm also an elder. And I'm going to talk a little bit towards sustainability of our vision. I know a lot of times when you hear the word sustainability, it's like automatically goes to finances. But we really find that sustainability is a lot bigger than that. And so I'm going to talk to that, to our vision. And first I want to start by saying we have been in this process with a mentor named Kathy Escobar called Reimagine Church, and we started this process about 11 months ago. And so there's been 11 people going through this process together, and it's really about reimagining who All Souls is. Kathy has a video for us, and so I want us just to listen to what she has to say first, and then I'll speak to that.
Hi, All Souls. I hope that you're having an amazing celebration tonight. I wish I could be there with you. I'm actually sending this from Southeast Asia. My husband and I have been on a wild and crazy 10-day adventure, exploring cultures, connecting with people, and really seeing life across the world for the last few days. And one of the things that I'm really struck with from this trip that applies to your gathering tonight is really just the desire across all of every bit of humanity for connection and belonging and spiritual growth, a place to live out our faith. And so that's All Souls. And I have loved journeying through the Reimagining Church cohort, really holding space for your community for this past year. 11 amazing, committed people who showed up once a month for 2 hours to really dig in, to be honest, to be vulnerable, to share, to anchor in, and then do homework that was in the month to really discern and listen and dig down to dream for all souls for the next chapter in your story. And the part that I love about faith communities and why I think it's just so crucial, the work that you're doing, is that the world needs your community. And there is a desire, especially after what we've been through, the global pandemic, so much strife and division in our country, this desire truly to have a place that would embody wholeness and be practicing and trying together. And the loneliness that pervades so much of our world needs a place, is desiring being together. And not just with people who are exactly like us, but across all of our differences. And so I have so much hope for your community because you have the secret sauce. And that secret sauce is this place for spiritual belonging across all of your unique stories and differences and all the things that make us uniquely human, and that we need a place that can hold it all, and you are a community that can hold it all. So my hope is really to just keep dreaming and to really lean in to your core value of spiritual belonging, and your and. The and is everything. I really believe this for the future. And the ability to hold joy and despair, to hold all the messy and all the beautiful, to hold faith, to hold doubt, to hold young and old, and all of our differences together, and all the things that make us human, and to not try and squeeze out one or the other, but to be able to create a place where everybody can acknowledge and hold them all. And that really is, in my opinion, the secret sauce that All Souls Boulder has, and the gift that it can bring to each other, and most importantly, also to the world around you.
So, kind of what Kathy was saying. We started this process about a year ago, and I would say we all felt a little bit like we were a ship without a sail. Like we weren't really sure where we were going, what we were doing. A lot of things had happened in the world. A lot of things had happened in the church in general, not just our church. And a lot of things had happened personally with us. We had changed locations, changed times. A lot of people weren't coming back to church after the pandemic, and so it felt pretty hard to know, like, what is All Souls and what are we doing? And so we started that process, and I would say this year has been a year of kind of doing the inner work of All Souls. And I don't know if you guys have gone through a season of having to do inner work, but a lot of times you look outside of yourself to try and find out how to change. Maybe that person's going to help me, or maybe I can go that way, or maybe that's the answer. And what we have found in this process is really that we have the answer right here within us. And Kathy just named that really well. It's spiritual belonging. That's kind of our secret sauce. We're really good at spiritual belonging. And we think that that is a way to actually make All Souls really sustainable. It's not changing our vision, it's already in our vision. The only thing that we're doing is wanting all of us to kind of lean into that, to own that, to name that, and know that we are rooted in this Christian tradition, and we get to expand, we get to change, we get to grow, and we get to include and what was the? Oh, yeah, thanks, Deb. We get to expand who we call us. And so saying yes to people is what we're really good at. And so I just wanted just to name that.
So you're right. My name's Deb. Sorry, I'm the treasurer here at All Souls. And you're right. Often you think sustainability means financial. Well, it does. But it's not the whole story, right? I'm going to talk about a very brief graph, as you know, I like to. And really what this I want to share is that we have been on this journey and we have adapted as we have needed to. If you look at the green line on this graph, it starts way back a couple of years ago, and it has changed every 12 months. It's changed, and the reason it's changed is because that line is our budget. It's what we need to have every month to meet our budget. That's just an average annual number divided by 12. So it changes every year that we change our budget, and we have had to adapt and change our budget for a variety of reasons, but mostly financial. And this last year, the current budget need has been $29,672 each month. The dotted line is very simply what giving has been every month. That's an actual number, and that's why it kind of goes up and down, because it's not the same every month. And we'd like to put this in front of you and let you know that this is important to us. It's what we keep our eye on for the financial sustainability of the church, and ask you to consider helping us in our endeavor. We really appreciate we really appreciate recurring giving, because when we go into our budget season in May and June, or before that, we will probably set our budget on what we think is going to come in the door as far as giving. So it's just a view of where we've been. We've been optimistic. As you can see, the green line is above the dotted line, because we have felt like we would be able to do that. Our staff and those folks that spend our money are very cautious, and they know that we probably aren't going to be able to spend that much money every month on average. So we appreciate that, and it's really what we're trying to do to be sustainable. I think I covered all those numbers. Thanks for looking at my graph. You know, I am going to transition this mic to Mike. Didn't plan that. Who has graciously joined our team these last couple of months. And we're thankful for you, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate your story you're about to tell us.
Yeah, thanks, Deb. Hey, everybody, my name is Mike, and I serve as an elder here, and this is the second time that I have served as an elder, and the other elders had asked me to share just a few words about what that journey has been like for me. So I promise this will be brief. It should only be 4 or 5 hours, minutes. So we came here, my family and I, in 2013, and that season for us, our kids were very young. We had just come off of a period, my wife and I haven't been in church for a really long time, and we had taken a break. But it was time. We felt like we needed and wanted community again. My dad had just died, and so we were in many ways raw and vulnerable as a family. And we showed up here, and both Keely and I, my wife, felt like this was our people. And this has been our people ever since. This has been our community. Some of our closest friends are here. Some of our kids' closest friends are here. And so the elders, just a couple of months ago, actually, let me back up. From 2015 to 2019, I was an elder the first time around, and that's, I think, the full term, 4 years, right? The elders just a couple of months ago had asked if I would be willing to consider serving as an elder again, because the elder team had recently gotten a little bit smaller, and you've heard a theme for the elder team has been sustainability, and a big part of that is thinking through what it looks like to support our pastor, the staff here at All Souls, and the deacons, and of course the body as well. And I think that the team had just felt like it was hard to do that as the team was getting smaller, so it would be helpful to have somebody else join. It was an easy yes for me. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I wanted to understand where they were and what they were trying to do, but this was and still is my people, and my people said we could use your help, and so it felt like an easy yes. And I think it's helpful to know, even sort of practically, what does it look like to think about and support our community in sustainability. We've had conversations with Will recently about what does it look like for him in these days when he's with his family. This is significant for them. And so that he and the staff aren't sort of walking that alone, trying to figure out how to both be a pastor, how to be available and present to his family in a really important time. And so the elders do that type of thing, and a ton of other stuff too, but I think that's some of the more meaningful work that the elder team does. That's it.
Thanks, Mike, for sharing your story, and we're really grateful as the elder team for you being willing to jump in and add another voice, another perspective as we seek to support the sustainability of All Souls as a community and really help us move towards wholeness as a body. And as you think about your commitment to All Souls, we invite you to think about, hey, would you be willing to serve as a deacon or as an elder? We kind of start that nomination process in May, and so it's nice for you to be thinking about that. You've heard a little bit about what we're doing and what our roles are, and you'll hear more from the deacons. But we would love to have more people join the team as we start that process again in May. So with that, we're going to pass it off to our lovely MC.
Thank you, guys. Let's do a round of applause for the elders. It goes without saying, we really appreciate all of the work you guys do. And Mike, thanks for sharing your story, and we're glad to have you as well. So now we're moving on to the deacons. So I'd like to invite all of the deacons up. so that you can put some faces to names, and maybe we'll just do a quick hit. Just say your name and maybe which part of the deacon org you're with, and then we'll get into a couple of things around sort of looking back and some impact and who the deacons are and what we're up to, as well as some invitations there as well. So yeah, and feel free to have a seat up here. So I'll start the intro circle. I don't think I introduced myself before, but I am Steve, and I'm one of the deacons.
Hi, I'm Tori. I'm one of the hospitality deacons.
Hi, I'm John, one of the deacons as well, obviously.
I'm Chelsea. I'm on the ministry partner team and the deacons.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I am a congregational care deacon.
Hi, y'all. I'm Shamika. I'm an administrative deacon.
I'm Stephanie Pease. I am also a care deacon.
And I'm Erin Moore, and also a care deacon.
So yeah, Erin, if you want to lead us a little bit in terms of some of the pieces as to who we are.
Sure. As you, many of you may know, deacons were first kind of created as being a group that has their eyes on the needs of the community and the congregation. And when somebody was talking, I was reminded of this book that I read many years ago called The Shelter of Each Other, and it was about families, and you would have to go to Amazon to find out what else it was about. But that word, or that title, kind of reminded me of kind of what we want to do here, and as deacons, what our charge is to help be attentive to and provide ways for us to be a shelter for one another in this community, and in the and create a shelter for the community outside our community. And so there are ways that in 2022, the deacons have helped kind of lean into that vision and provide opportunities for you all to serve one another and for us to serve you. And so I should have worn my glasses, but so things that this community together did in 2022 was to provide 750 pounds of food to Sister Carmen for them to distribute, to raise $12,560 for Prodigy, and then the deacons kicked in $2,000 more from our budget. We coordinated 45 meals for members of our community when there were surgeries, births, deaths, and thank you to many of you who are on the list to get notified of that and who brought meals, purchased meals, had meals delivered, those kinds of things. We're really grateful. And as somebody who received one, I'm really grateful. Let's see, and then along with that, similarly urgent childcare needs or provided subsidy or kind of subsidized counseling for people in our community who needed it. There are 41 kids currently being sponsored through Iglesia Berlin, and we're looking for 4 more sponsors. And then we raised $3,000 for the Marshall Fire support. We've also, in kind of looking forward, created a new hospitality team that you'll hear more about, and expanded the deacon team so that we're now currently 9. So we feel like that helps us serve you.
Yeah, that's a lot. Great, and yeah, we're going to pass it to Katie to talk about some of the invitations from us.
Great. So as deacons, like Steve said, we try to keep an eye on what the needs are in our community, both the people in this room and the broader community that we're living in. So we have a survey that we would love for you to take. If you hold up your phone camera to that funny looking design in the corner, that will take you to the survey. We've also got that link printed out and it should be in an email, I believe. So there's a couple ways you can get to it if you don't want to do it now. It's a very short survey, but we do have some of our ministry partners are due to be, for us to reevaluate and just kind of check in with one another and say, is this still where the heartbeat of our community is? Is this still where we want to prioritize our resources? And what might we be missing? What other organizations are in our community that might be good for us to support? And maybe we don't know about them and you do, so the survey is an opportunity for you to share those things with us. Either say, whether that's just, I love the work we're doing, keep at it, check, 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 let's keep doing this, or hey, I heard about this other organization that I think that we could partner with. We also have just some practical needs for the week-to-week things that happen in our community, including this service. So we would love for people to sign up to be greeters at the door for people who are coming to the service, and to just kind of continue to adopt that posture of hospitality when we get to come together. We also have a go-to list of people for the meal ministry. So if you would like to be on that list of people who we contact when there are meal needs in our community, there's no commitment in signing up. You'll just get emails, and if you are available at that time, whether it's making a meal for someone or ordering DoorDash to somebody else's house, that is also an acceptable way to be involved in the meal ministry. But just if you want to receive those emails and chip in when you can, we would love to have a longer list of folks on there. As always, there are donation campaigns, sometimes the food drive, sometimes clothing, sometimes larger initiatives for financial support with our ministry partners. So just keep an eye out for those things. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Katie, and thank you, deacons. Appreciate the time and all the work that you guys do. This was great. So, yeah, let's give a round of applause. So next we're gonna move a little bit, and we're gonna actually start and have a conversation amongst ourselves. Like this community you've just heard from the elders and the deacons, who are helping lead and orchestrate some elements of the church, but this church is about all of us and what we're doing and how we want to participate in this church and the vision for the church that we want to create. And so we're going to move into a discussion in small groups. And so I'm going to ask you guys in a moment here to kind of gather into groups of 5 or 6 with those around you. And it'd be great to introduce yourself quickly and then also to explore some of these questions. So we've got the questions up here on the screens. What freedoms have you experienced or do you want to explore on your spiritual journey? And in what ways would you like to deepen your commitment to this community? And so it'd be great to have a little dialogue around those different questions. We're not going to come back and there's not going to be a report out. This is for us to just kind of explore together, different thoughts and ideas around kind of those 2 questions for you as an individual as well as you as a part of this broader community. So we'll split up into groups for 5-6 minutes here, and then we'll move back to the whole group through song next. All right, so let's break and join in your small groups. Folks, we're going to have about another minute or so if you guys could kind of move to some concluding thoughts or so, and then we also can continue after the, after this gathering piece while we're eating some food. So we'll start off with some music here in a little bit to bring the group together.
I lean not on my own understanding.
Amen. That was beautiful. All right, so we've got one more kind of key piece of the planned agenda here, where the staff will provide a couple updates and a couple of the things that they're working on, and then just so you know, we'll then kind of close in another song and some prayer, and then we will move into community time together.
Can we put our hands together for Susan and Annie? It's beautiful. We're going to talk a little bit about just some of the Sunday worship and circles and youth and other aspects of ways that we gather as a community. And before we do, I just want to say one of the things I've enjoyed this year has been working with these amazing people. And one of the things that we've really worked on through elders and deacons and staff is there ways to lower hierarchy and just work as teams more together. And seeing the gifts of each of these leaders come out has just been a huge privilege for me. And we're going to talk a little bit about, I just wanted to say that, sorry. I like y'all. I just want to talk, we're going to talk a little bit about the rhythm of worship is what we're calling it. So if you've ever experienced like being constrained by something, like you only have this amount of material you can use to build it, I actually think and have learned like that's usually where greater creativity comes out of. Often if you're like, you can do anything you want and be anything you want, you're like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And one of the constraints, many of the constraints we experienced as a church was coming back from being online and finding ways to gather again, trying to understand who goes to this church, who doesn't, who can we volunteer, what does this all look like? We felt it wasn't bad, it's just where we were as a church. And there was a lot of like, I don't know if we can do all the programs we were doing before. I don't know if we can do music the same way. I don't know if we can sustain all the things the way we want to. And it was constraints. And at first, fear crept in, I think, for me. These souls were a little bit braver than I and our other leaders were, but fear of just like, do we have to kind of like redo it all again, or how can we do this? And from that constraint, I think a lot of beautiful creative rhythms have come to this community and have been life-giving, I think, to us as leaders. So we just want to talk about some of those. And a lot of this pertains to Sunday evenings, though we know so much of what we do is not just gathering on a Sunday evening. But one of the things that we put together was this idea of an invitation to a holistic rhythm of worship. And by that meaning, we worship each individual and community, we worship God in different ways. Some of us, we connect through music, some through scripture, some through community, some through silence, some through wondering questions, and with kids. There's so many different ways that individuals connect and worship that we can't just define it by this cookie-cutter way. And so some of our creativity is like, let's find rhythms in which we can find fuller expressions of worship that's more inclusive for other people, and ways in which we can be creative of all ages and everyone who's walking through those doors. And so we're experimenting right now and have been with what some of those rhythms have, what we want them to look like and what they have been. And we're also wanting to grow in an area of communicating them clearly. When you're kind of building a plane as it flies, it's hard to know, like, it's hard to say, well, are we doing this forever or not? Or is this a thing? We're just trying it. It was a lot of lab work this last year. And Leah specifically has worked so hard to try to communicate that clear and has kept pushing. We need to be more and more clear of when someone shows up on a Sunday. Which one are we doing this Sunday? Or what are we doing? And you have all been so flexible through that creativity, and that's another piece of it. And so we just want to walk through and hope to find ways to communicate this more and more as we move forward. So Rachel's going to start us off with talking about some of these rhythms of worship.
Okay, I'm going to get us started. One of the ways that we have noticed, and I especially have noticed, is that worshiping through wonder can be really expansive and can include everybody, literally everyone, all ages, all people. So we have with Wonder, which is a simple worship gathering at the same time in this place with all ages and oftentimes around maybe something imaginative, or maybe an art project, or a way to pray that feels different. So that's our wonder.
The next rhythm is worship, and a holistic rhythm of worship with contemplation. This is more of a liturgical service, maybe what you're used to, where we go through different liturgies and more music and traditional practices where we experience the presence of God. And this isn't just happening here upstairs, but there's a lot of ways. This is when some of the youth are upstairs and kids are downstairs, and we are all practicing as church a lot of these contemplative practices and asking these beautiful questions, being in the presence of God.
We worship with service. This is our opportunity, our humble and courageous opportunity to connect outside of this community. Sometimes this has looked like going to the park and getting our hands dirty and helping our city clean up. This has also been making bags to hand out to people on the streets that are cold and hungry. It's also been in this room, learning what we need to learn to practice faith and justice in our world. So we're really excited and hopefully going to be able to engage a lot more in this area.
Quick show of hands, who enjoys being outside more than inside? Not in January, though. It's a huge part of this city and a huge part of this culture. And so we've had in some ways we didn't have a place to worship, and so we had during the summer we'd worship outside, and it's become such a connection point for so many. And a lot of times some of our guests, people who would never show up into a church building, will come to one of those services. So worship, a holistic rhythm of worship with nature. This is a gathering in the sanctuary of nature that celebrates both the mystery and the beauty of seasonal change within our own soul and all around. So times in which we get to gather and worship together in nature and
with nature. With celebration is another one of them. We as a church follow the liturgical calendar, and I don't know how many of you have seen it, but it's a circle. It's my favorite kind of calendar. And there's some really great non-ordinary days where there are celebrations, and so we want to embrace that as a church. So the All Souls Day Festival is a good example. Easter, Palm Sunday. Today is one of those, and that's why this looks different and why we get to enjoy some food after. So.
And then finally, this idea of a worship with rest. And this is a time where we actually don't gather as a community here in this space. And at first, I'll tell you, as a staff member, this was scary. Because I think we're just told in our life to just go. And the realization, I think, for us of like, no, in creation itself is a rhythm of rest. For leaders, for ourselves, for our community. And so this has been a beautiful thing. It is a day in which we commit to Sabbath, to rest, in which we practice the freedom of rest. And I just believe any of that practice of Sabbath, of rest, is so, we do it individually or with little groups, but to do it communally. To say all of us are actually trying to practice rest on some of these Sundays. And how do we do that with our devices? How do we do that with our work? How do we do that in so many ways and practice rest together? Okay, so did we good? We did good, didn't we? Okay, so we're going to hand it over to Leah.
Hey guys, I'm Leah. I'm on staff here at All Souls. And as your director of communication, I'd like to let you know that all those rhythms are on the website, on the calendar. So if you'd like to know what's happening when, just check out the website. All right? Sweet. Just wanted to be clear about that. I'd also like to invite you in to participate in all these forms of worship. In the back, on the welcome table back there, there's a good old clipboard. If you want to know more information of what it looks like to participate, whether it's a celebrant, you're reading scripture, or a greeter, or a part of our new hospitality team, would love for you to sign up, and we can give you more info or let you know what that looks like. Trying to think of other ways to participate that are really clutch. Doing the slides back there, awesome. Live stream, even more awesome. Sound, the most awesome. All right? Guys, we would love to have you. The music team, Susan, Mike, a lot of other people in the congregation have been leading, and we would love for anyone who is willing or talented to participate. Love that. I was just kidding. Anyone can participate. Yeah, and then with youth and kids, you know, we talked about how everyone is worshiping in different spaces, and if you're interested in working with those groups of people, we would love to have you. So sign up. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Lindy, and I am the youth director here, which means youth is anyone middle and high school that's part of our congregation. So first, I just wanted to announce that it has been 1 year since I took this position, and we created an All Souls Youth. So it is something we've been wanting to do for a very long time as we saw our congregation and our community get older. And so thank you all for coming and trying it and showing up and learning with me. I just feel privileged to be in this position. In the line, along with what Will and Rachel were just saying, wanted to give you a little update about how things are going to look this next spring for our youth gatherings. In the spirit of the holistic rhythm of worship that they just outlined, we are going to align our youth circles with what's happening in the service here whenever possible. We really feel like we want it to be almost a small group, breakout group of the bigger church, so that we're crossing over with what is being discussed up here too. So we're going to have a little bit of flexibility on where we meet. We might meet upstairs for contemplation and talk about liturgy and some scripture and have a quiet time of reflection together. We may meet in the basement and have a time of wonder and do an art project, perhaps out in nature, or as Liam is joyfully showing here, in celebration, a scavenger hunt, on a hike, different service opportunities. We want to have the freedom to explore and have youth look a little bit different as well. So be sure to check the website to put those dates on your calendar now and to know what you're going to walk into each week. I am also personally very excited to announce what's been a dream of mine since taking this role, which is a parent educator workshop. Oh, too loud? Parent educator workshop specifically for parents of tweens and teens. I think in our community we offer a lot of support for parents of young children, which is necessary. But as the mother of a teenager, my daughter just turned 13 last week, and a soon-to-be tween, we need some help and support. And I am excited to offer that to our community. So on February 8th, we are having a parent educator workshop here. Her name is Ashley Chandler, and she runs a program called Elevated Adolescence. And I've known her for years. She has a podcast, speaking engagements, private therapy. She's a wonderful teacher and a parent of teens and tweens herself. And this is open to the community at large. And so we're hosting it here at All Souls, and Ashley is offering this workshop free to our All Souls members. And it will be on a Wednesday evening from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We'll provide some light refreshments, and please sign up. There's a laptop in the back that's open to the page. The code is All Souls. It is free if you sign up through All Souls. And she talks about the way the teen brain works, what we're experiencing, how things are changing. I think you'll get a lot out of it as a parent, and you can invite friends and community. And if you have a child in maybe 4th or 5th grade who's coming up, this is also a great time to come and learn more about how you can support them and build a relationship with them that is a lasting bond. And let's see, last thing I wanted to end with is the fact that we have the freedom to create this youth group community to be something that maybe doesn't look like other churches' youth groups is a real gift and a blessing. And it's also a responsibility to make sure that it's here for our youth, and that's where the commitment comes in. So having volunteers and families and the youth themselves who commit to coming and showing up is what can allow us to continue to have the freedom to grow and change to be what this church needs to be to offer to the community. So if you're interested at all in volunteering or coming with the youth at some point, whether it's the day we're going on a hike or a service project with Prodigy or just upstairs, I encourage you to sign up. And I would also like to personally thank the volunteers that come over and over again. So we have 2 here today, Laura Baker and Melissa Joy and John Saints and Lauren Forsyth have been coming almost every single time we meet. And I just can't thank you enough for the consistency and for your effort and for your insight. So thank you. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. And sometimes my husband will have to make the Domino's runs. So thanks.
Awesome. All of the things, the inspiration that you feel invited to, all of it, like what we're trying to do. I loved how Polly said a place of spiritual belonging, an invitation to be known, to share our life with one another. I won't lie, it happens, the work of all of that happens in what we call our circles. And so we just want to end by telling you a little bit about our circles. In there, in your little guide, are all of the different circles that we do. And what we mean by that is just being able to find each other in a smaller space and share your story. Some of them, if you're interested in Enneagram, if you're interested in faith and justice, or writing, or hiking, or a Bible study, these are the ways in which we literally do the work. So if you're like, man, I'm kind of encouraged, finding each other in circles is a beautiful way in which we get to do this life together. And we just wanted to say that our neighborhood circles, groups that meet at different times, usually in different neighborhoods around the L towns or here in Boulder, there are room in our neighborhood circles. And so if you're interested in one of those, there is a way to sign up at the clipboard back there. And you can email us as well. But if anything of this, if you have any interest of, man, how can I be known? How can I belong? How can I kind of talk about what we're trying to do? I really think this is a big way in which finding it. And I know this may not work for your life right now, or you may say something on this list and be like, not interested, but I'm really interested in this. Let's start on something new and invite people into it. But thank you all. Thank you so much for this year and the ways that you have supported us as staff and leaders and just each other. And Rachel's going to close us in a, no. Oh, we're going to sing. Here you go, Steve. You got it. Steve's going to sing. No.
I won't be singing, but everyone join in.
I feel compelled to say something before we sing our last song. I think music is a beautiful way to practice freedom and commitment. For it to happen at all, we have to put ourselves out there. We have to commit to it, loud and proud. But once we do that, it creates an amazing space for creativity, for movement, for just opening our souls to whatever comes. So as we sing our last song, I'd like to invite you to commit to it and experience the freedom that comes with it. Feel free to improvise, to embellish, and sing out loud and proud. I also want to say music is an amazing platform for community. It's a way to be attentive to one another and to create a bond. So I feel so blessed to get to make music with you all. Sing with us as you get comfortable. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones
ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Wow, I feel really emotional.
You got it. Hey, you got it.
Okay. Let us close in prayer here tonight. It helps now and then to step back and take a long view. The kingdom is not only beyond our efforts, it is even beyond our vision. We accomplish in our lifetime only a tiny fraction of the magnificent enterprise that is God's work. Nothing we do is complete, which is the way of saying that the kingdom always lies beyond us. No statement says all that could be said. No prayer fully expresses our faith. No confession brings perfection. No pastoral visit brings wholeness. No program accomplishes the church's mission. No set of goals and objectives includes everything. This is what we are about. We plant the seeds that one day will grow. We water seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that we need further development. We provide yeast that produces effects far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there's a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something, and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it's a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and to do the rest. We may never see the end result, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are the workers, not the master builders, ministers, or messiahs. We are the prophets of a future that is not our own. Amen. All right, well, with that, thank you to everyone for putting this together. Thank you for the beautiful music. Thanks for all the leadership, the orchestration. Thank you all for showing up and being part of this community. Now is the time when we get to celebrate and be a community and eat and enjoy a lot of everyone's favorite appetizers here. So we invite you all to head to the back, grab some food. Feel free to sit anywhere within the church and have those foods. And there's also the little survey form there and the questionnaire. Please fill those out. Sign up for different things. That questionnaire, just so you guys all know, it looks like this, and it would be great to get your thoughts and feedback here. Thanks again, and have a great night.